That's kind of fun, it bounces. That'll call ourselves to order. Start off by pointing at our Dakota Land, Water, and People Acknowledgement printed on the agenda. It's also available online. Just acknowledging that we are on the ancestral homes of Indigenous people and keep that in mind as we do our work. Then next up will be approval of our agenda, which we can do by consensus. Is there any additions or changes needed to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll approve that as presented. And then we need approval of the October 2nd meeting minutes. And I'll take a motion and second for that from anyone who was present at that meeting, which is myself, David, and that's it.
Okay, I'll do a motion.
I guess I'll second it. Are there any corrections to those minutes from October? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries and those minutes are approved. That will bring us on to the public invitation portion of our meeting for any interested persons to address the commission. I mentioned it.
Oh, that's okay.
I know of one. Are there any others registered from the general public? Okay. We do have one person that we're familiar with that wants to say a few words. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Good afternoon. I've written something out. I don't know if I'll bother sticking to it. This is going to be my last MPOS meeting. I am officially retiring as of January 2nd of 2026. I just wanted to take this time to share a little bit about my thoughts on the history of the regional park system, the importance of it, as well as give a few tidbits of outgoing advice. So I was always pretty nomadic in my early years in the parks field. I worked out in California, I worked in Idaho, and I worked up at the University of Minnesota in Duluth teaching geography for a while. And it was the Met Council that dragged me back to the Twin Cities, along with my wife. She's an artist, and there are many better modern dance companies in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, than in Duluth. But so I came back, and I actually worked at the Met Council starting in 1998, and I worked till 2005 in the parks program here. I took a year off, I did a sabbatical, and went and worked on a PhD as a fellow at the U of M. But I ultimately came back to here after doing that. And it was great. It was really interesting. As a geographer, I really believe in the concept of systems planning and of integration of different systems. And that's really what the Met Council is about. And my years here were really, really interesting. There was a guy named Gene who was a lead economist when I was here. He is long since retired. He retired while I was still working here. He helped he wrote the Fiscal Disparities Act. There was another guy, Munson, I can't remember his first name. Michael, thank you. Michael, the lead demographer, who said, oh, you're gonna move there? Are you sure about that? Let me show you some statistics. And so I didn't move there. That was fascinating. He also retired. Both of them represented sort of this brain trust of what the Met Council originally began as, which was a think tank, an idea generator, an inspirational group of people trying to look at the whole rather than the pieces. I left in 2005 simply because I had an opportunity to implement ideas that we'd been generating here. And so I went to Three Rivers, which is a really good place to implement stuff. Gives lots of opportunities, and for that I'm grateful. In the last few years, the last 8 years, I've served on 2 national boards for parks, and I'm familiar with almost all of the metropolitan park agencies across the United States. And what I can say is we have a very unique situation here with 10 implementing agencies. Many use a single model. Others have 10 agencies, but they don't coordinate. This is very unique, this is very special, and it's also very tough, because you have 10 agencies, 10 different governing bodies, 10 different sets of staff, and who's making them talk? Well, it's you folks that are bringing it all together. And that's a razor's edge to walk, to do it in a respectful way and in an inspirational way, and to get it to happen, to drag it where you want it to go, to help push it, I should not say drag, but to help push, to inspire where you'd like it to go. I thank the staff and I thank MPOS for your work on this. It's tough, but it is really important. I do want to say, as a sunset, I want to encourage you to do 3 things. 3 is a magic number. Yes, it is. Great song, and it's still true. I use it at work. I use it at home. So there's 3 things that, as you move forward, I would encourage you, the Met Council and the agencies, to buy as much land as you possibly can. Land is forever. 7 generations from now, they will thank you for buying that land. It's the one thing that will always be there. Everything else we build will turn to dust at some point. Needs and desires will change, but land is permanent. The second thing, and this is something I've been harping on for a long time, metro areas across the nation are competing with each other for retaining and recruiting talent and retaining and recruiting business. If we are to succeed, given our position in a very cold climate, especially today, winter is really our greatest deterrent, but it's also our greatest strength. That's what makes us unique. And if we can capitalize on making this the most fun place to live in the US in the winter, the summer will follow and we will succeed. So I'd encourage you to pay a lot of attention to winter recreation opportunities and to recognize the importance of the place and to work with MSP, the greater MSP, and the other marketing agencies that are trying to promote the Metro. Parks are about quality of life, and the council used to do a survey, the general population survey, every year. They stopped doing it for some reason I don't know. Parks and trails were always the #1 factor of quality of life. We need to keep that going. Okay, and the third one, 3, like I said, is a magic number. And the third one is the name of MPOS to begin with. It's Metropolitan Parks and Open Space. That's 3 words. Metropolitan Parks is only 2 words, so it's maybe like 3/5 more important. I don't know what the math is, but you know what I'm saying? Open space is really important, even if there isn't a recreational component to it. And please keep that in mind, that you can weave together an ecologically significant open space network that may not have recreational value today because it's being developed before people live near it, and that's okay. But you need to move now because you won't be able to do it when the people are already there. The opportunity will be gone. So please keep those things in mind. And on that, a few personal notes. Anthony, God, it's been a pleasure having you on this board. You are brilliant. I really enjoy your insights. Thank you so much for your service. David, I apologize for not getting to know you better. And the pandemic kind of took the wind out of my sails with social things. And I wish I had.
Well, we can always do a coffee.
Sure, anytime. Chris, I don't even know who the hell you are. I'm sorry. I think you're from Anoka, right? Okay. I have great hopes for Anoka. I really like what they're doing. Jeff Perry's doing up there.
Yeah.
Wendy, I've known you for practically my entire length of service, I think. And when did you start?
I started on the council in 2009.
2009. I thought it was longer than that. Okay, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your support. Sandy, wow, you're the tops. You've been here as long as I have, I think. Yeah. Tony, you know something about everything. That's impressive. And thank you for leading this disparate group of fun folks. And then Emmett, I knew you before you came here. I was excited to see you come here, and I wish you the best.
Thanks,
in your
Jonathan.
Continued endeavors. And again, the staff, my apologies, I'm sometimes really hard on my council staff. And it's never about you personally or even the work you do. It has much more to do with protecting the interests of my singular agency as opposed to looking at things regionally. Yeah, it's always been a bit of a conflict within myself of having to do both those things, and I look forward to not having that conflict any longer. But again, thank you all for your service. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you. Tony, we did bring some party favors today for, and I wanted to give one to Jonathan as an honorary commissioner, but it's a Parks for All poster and a sticker.
Ooh,
So,
sticker.
Yeah, so, but we do appreciate, and you are loyal as can be, so.
Okay. Just a random aside, on the subject of winter, are you familiar with Kenny Blumenfeld? No.
No.
The state climatologist.
Exactly. Meteorologist, works at the state climatology office. Several years ago, he personally produced a short video about winter and the impact on our culture and importance to our identity. It's, I don't know, maybe like 45 minutes or something. It's probably on YouTube still. If not, if you contact him, I'll bet he can give you a DVD and you would probably find that fascinating.
Tony, I'm gonna invite him to come and talk to the commission just because he is a really great speaker.
He really
But he's
is.
also like to talk about things like winter recreation and what the climate is doing. I think would be really good context setter for him.
That would be
We've
good.
used them in the past.
Yeah. He also has an interesting email mailing list about weather events as they come in. It's like talking about what we know, what we don't know, and why the forecast is often wrong. I took a class from him in college and then I've just been in touch with him through his email thing since. He's funny. Anyway. All right, that brings us on to our information items for the day. I'll start off with the Parks Ambassador and Art and Policy Program updates. We have several staff, or maybe just one?
For me for now.
Three people in one, all right.
He's representing the law.
I'm
That was
representing
my
the law,
mistake.
3 and 1. So-
Man of many hats.
Yes,
Go
yes.
ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm here to present to you all the Parks Ambassador Program and the Art and Policy Visioning Framework. Unfortunately, I didn't come with a cool fancy slide, and I hate to be the one behind Jonathan because that was a really good speech and very, very informational too as well too for me. So with that, I have the information item on there, and so please feel free to take a look at that and follow as I talk through it and all that. So the Parks Program or Parks Ambassador Program and the Art and Policy Visioning Framework, they came about when I came here, and part of it selfishly was because I was trying to understand the program, both programs. And so part of that, digging through all the files and everything, I realized that there wasn't necessarily a document that captured all the great work that has been done. And so with that, one of the first things that I did with the team, which Ellie over here and Erica behind me, one of the first things that we did was we were like, hey, let's capture all this on a document and really focus in on the vision, the strategic framework, so that way we have a focus on where we need to go. And so while these are the first formal visioning frameworks for the Parks Ambassador Program and Art Policy Program, that's not to say that the visions, the goals, the mission was not there prior to this. Everything has been there. Both of the frameworks were built based upon past projects, initiatives, and relationships. And it was co-created with the team. And really, honestly, it was like an interview where I just asked both Erica and Ellie, like, hey, like what happened in the past, and putting it all together in this framework. And so with this framework that you all see, with both these frameworks, are all the work that has been done by my predecessors, along with the amazing team back here, the parks team back here. And I had zero thing to do with it besides putting it on the paper. But I'm glad to be able to hear about all the projects, all the initiatives, all the great work that these two programs have kicked off and kept going. So with that, just kind of want to go through it a little bit. We as the Met Council, as we all understand, we sit in a unique role here, especially with our Parks and Trails team. The Met Council does not own or operate any parks. So what our value that we bring to this is that we are a regional connector, convener, and supporter of the 10 implementing agencies and their work. And part of the work is that we want to identify impact opportunities to advance equity across the regional system that we have there. So these frameworks explicitly aligns, just with our equity goals and outcomes, along with like long-range planning, bringing community voices to the table, and then also with the regional coordination with all the implementing agencies, partners that we work with. And so just getting to going down to the Parks Ambassador Program strategic framework specifically, one of the strategic goals that we had, or while talking with the team, of what we had was, we wanted to, it has been and we want to continue to strengthen equitable use and belonging across the regional parks and trail system, helping everybody see themselves within the system, and that's going to look different across the board in different counties, different cities, different agencies. So our work when we did this, we were trying to figure out like how can we kind of put these in umbrellas, and we had an aha moment to where we were like, oh, there's 3 umbrellas that I think our work here with the Parks Ambassador Program, whether the past, present, and go into the future, all kind of fall under. And that's, one is awareness, bring awareness to our regional system. As to Jonathan's point, I believe that our regional system is one of the crown jewels here in the Twin Cities. And so I think, we always can do a better job in bringing awareness to the regional systems. And so all that looks like, the systems maps that we have, updating that, being at outreach events, partnering up with our agency partners to be able to connect directly with the communities, and then with any social media and just how we help people find and feel invited to the system. The other umbrella is support. This one's pretty straightforward because as we are supporting the 10 implementing agencies, specifically with the Parks Ambassador Program, that's with the agency outreach meetings that we pull all the agencies together, convene, and really kind of do a peer learning through that. And that's one thing that, with my short 5 months here, that, with meeting with each individual agencies, is that's one thing that they yearn for, is to come together and learn from one another, but also learn from experts out there in the world. And knowing that Met Council, we sit in a unique position to be able to provide that for the implementing agencies. Also, along with that, the equity grant as well too, as another part of another initiative that's going and that supports the park agencies with their work, and that's continuing to keep growing as that's still pretty young in its life, if you will. And then the last bucket really is initiatives. And a lot of things came out of that. Even the art and policy program that came out of the initiatives under the Parks Ambassador Program, specifically with my predecessor here and her passion and where her interest lies. And all of that work obviously started prior to even the formalization of art and policy back in 2023. So just touching back upon the Park Ambassador, some of the key things that I want to highlight is that we recognize that we are not a frontline programming department, and we don't intend to be one, but we intend to support our implementing agencies who are that. We fill in gaps, build partnerships, pilot new approaches, and strengthen the system as a whole. One thing we don't want to do is we don't want to reinvent the wheel, do redundant work that's already been produced out there. We just want to support our agencies, and we know that looks different depending on the agency. And so I was talking about art and policy, moving down to the art and policy with it. This is a bit newer, if you will. It formalized back in 2023 during the Imagine 2050 process. But I like to believe through my digging and research in the files and all that, that it started before that. And actually, during my time prior to here, when I was at Ramsey County Parks and Rec, I was able to witness some of that early starts with the signage project. And so there's already been a lot of art projects that was done prior to 2023 that was with the implementing agencies or outside of that as well. And with the Imagine 2050 process, it formalized into an initiative that now we're going to formalize into a program. And so with that, I realized, oh, we need a framework for this. So we have our goals, and clarity is the word that I like to use, is that we're all clear on it. No matter if people switch in and out, we have a document to provide that clarity of what we're trying to do. And so with that, the strategic goal is that we use art and creative practices to make policy and public engagement more inclusive, imaginative, and human-centered, while enhancing public spaces, cultural identity, and community connection. What makes this distinct is that artists are included early in the process, paid fairly and on time, and then also treated as a strategic partner and not a last addition add-on to a project. This is not art for art's sake. It's a method for human-centered policy and program and planning, and it supports both decision-making and place-making in this. And so the couple things that art policy is not, we're not an arts programming department, we're not a public art grant fund, we're not a last-minute declaration like I mentioned, and not a replacement for agency-led programming. And also we're not just limited to just physical art or physical and visual art. And I think there's many creative practices out there that each community loves and all that. So we want to be open to that as well. And so why does this all matter to the Met Council? Because one is because I think it provides a few strengths. One of them being the regional equity outcomes. Our work here is equity focused, and we want to be able to uplift all the underrepresented communities, and also to work with each agency and their unique communities that they work with, and knowing that this is not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. The other thing is to strengthen agency partnership and coordination, to build public trust in government, and then also meaningful community participation with it. So hopefully with art and policy, as we continue to keep progressing and evolving with the growth of it, that we position the Met Council as a leader in human-centered and creative governance, and also a convener that supports system-wide learning and innovation. And so with that, today's purpose is really to share the strategic direction that we've all put in our heads and thoughts. And again, it predates me, going all the way back to when this program started back in 2017, but really with the 2014 research study that was done that really kicked all this off. And also, it's to align expectations as well too, and to invite future dialogues and guidance from you all as well. And so these frameworks, one thing I do want to note is that these frameworks are a living document. They're not fixed by any means. I like to believe that we here, and I say we, not just the Parks and Master and Art Policy team, but really the general Parks and Trails team behind me, that we are in the growth mindset. And so with that, we know that with the growth mindset, we have to adapt, and we have to take in all the information that we're learning and growing, and then adapt it to our process and how we kind of go about things. So with that, these documents are living documents, but it's a starting place to provide us that clarity and direction that we needed to keep moving forward with it. So it will continue to keep evolving, but as it evolves, we hope that we get the support and also the guidance and direction and feedback from you all as well too, as that evolution happens. And so really with this, we just wanted to open up to you all because we would really value your questions, reflections, guidance, or any feedback that you all would like to offer or may have.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah, Chris.
So you said that art isn't always physical or visual. So I'm just curious, like what kind of projects do you have planned coming up that would be kind of not that, and enlighten me on some of that stuff, because I have a hard time thinking of what that is when it's not physical.
Yeah. Thank you for the answer, Mr. Chair and committee members. One thing, we don't necessarily have one in the pipeline right now, but one example, and I can share with you all, that's actually with our implementing partners, Ramsey County. They just recently brought on an artist, and this is not a visual artist, this is a hip hop artist that they brought on as their artist, the new artist in residence, not through the MinPair, but through another project. And prior to, I forget the lady's name, but prior to her coming to Ramsey County, she did a lot of work with Minneapolis Park Board. And one of the cool things that she did about it was this topic about drowning, right? And it wasn't just about water safety, drowning, but it was drowning in terms of water safety, but also drowning in your own thoughts and emotions with mental health as well too. So a double whammy, and she did a program with that with the Minneapolis Park Board, which I think that led to a lot of interest from Ramsey County to pull her in and do some engagements around that as well too. So that's still yet to come because that's still very early with their work over there, but that would be like an example of not visual artists, but other creative practices as well too.
Who wasn't affiliated with a park system. This is making me think of something I stumbled across on YouTube once, which was a guy that was going into parks and just posting up somewhere kind of out of the way and wrapping children's books. And crowds would just gather around him after a while, be like, what is this guy doing? And I'm like, hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
So it was like, starts drawing in crowds of different sorts of people and that sort of thing. Like not what we would necessarily think of first, but it could be effective.
Yeah.
Now, if we can get a hip hop album of the parks policy plan, that'd be interesting.
We would get a lot more listeners.
I don't know.
That is interesting.
Anything else?
I was just gonna comment that, similar to you, when Amanda Lovely was in the position, we met with the State Arts Board, a woman named Sue Jens, and she's just like, so you just want a bunch of plop art in your regional parks and trails, just scatter it around? That's what, because we were like, do you want to do a partnership? We thought that was a good opportunity, and she was actually very interested and continues to like stay connected, but like that was a big concern, that it's just, so you get artists to do something and you stick it in the park. No, this is about engagement, this is about understanding community concerns, community interests, and really working together. I'm impressed, Tony, that you've been here 5 months and you've really embodied the art and policy program. So good work, because I do think it's about process and it's about dialogue.
Yeah,
so.
sure. I agree as well.
I don't know if I'm gonna steal thunder from any of your colleagues, but another thing we had was stuff where rather than just an artist making something to put in a park, we had park visitors making art of some sort as part of our feedback for policy plan updates.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And another thing I'm thinking of, especially in terms of connections with different cultural groups that have been underrepresented in various ways, several of them have cultural dance-focused events of various sorts, some of which already take place in parks that the rest of us don't necessarily know about. And maybe there's some partnership opportunities there too. Anything else? All right.
I'll just take this opportunity to mention the Minnesota Parks Artist in Residence program. There's sort of this culminating event that Ellie and the team are helping organize with, what's the name of that? Forecast Public Art. And it's gonna be next Tuesday over the lunch hour. Bring your lunch to it. You don't have to turn your camera on, but check it out. It was a big success. It was a partnership that Ellie led, but it was with the Department of Natural Resources and the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission, using Parks and Trails legacy funding, that coordination among partners money, to help support this idea. So it's very much akin. So
Appreciate you for
Info about that on the council website anywhere, or do we have to go out to some other organization?
I sent you an interesting email about it earlier, but.
I saw the email.
Yeah, okay, well, check it out. You need to register for it, but it's all free, it'll just pop on your.
What if there was somebody in our audience that isn't on our email list? Where would they find it?
The Forecast Public Art website?
It's not public on their website since it's more so for internal
Oh,
stakeholders.
Sorry, here
Oh.
I go mentioning it.
That's okay. It could be something that they could email
Me.
Emmett,
Yeah.
Emmett
Okay.
can pass it along.
Contact Emmett if interested, but, all right.
Must monitor web, or no, email.
All
That's fine.
right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are other people talking about other pieces of that, or?
No, we're moving down.
Okay. All right, so that'll bring us on to the Parks Equity Tool refresh. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about what you've been up to.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Councilmember Wolf, Commissioners. My name is Ismael Ramirez, and I'm the Principal Parks and Trails Researcher here at the Met Council. And we're here to show what we've been working on with the Park Equity Tool Refresh. And here with me is my colleague, Magdalene.
Hello, Chair, Councilmember Wolf, Commissioners. My name is Magdalene Herzig, and I'm a research intern on the development analysis team.
And Magdalene has been helping me quite heavily on this refresh. So the region has goals. One of those goals is to be equitable and inclusive. This goal that is reflected in Imagine 2050 is strengthen the equitable and inclusive use of regional parks and trail system. The region is very diverse, and park planning needs to reflect the people and communities surrounding each park and trail today. Equity goes beyond access, and it also includes belonging, cultural relevance, and ensuring parks respond to the community needs and experiences. In response to this, the Parks team of the Parks Department has added an equity analysis requirement plan for the long-range plans. And every unit needs to present a long-range plan that will include the equity analysis. Agencies need to describe the characteristics of nearby communities, identifying underserved groups, and show how engagement shaped the plan. The planning handbook encourages the use of council-approved demographic data to support the work. And the Park Equity Tool is one of the resources for meeting these requirements in a consistent, affordable, and accessible way. What is actually this tool? The Park Equity Tool is an interactive resource that combines census and council data to summarize the demographics of each park and trail. It offers a snapshot of current conditions and some forecasted numbers. Users can explore maps, compare parks and agencies, and download that data to support the planning, engagement, programming, and research. While designed mainly for park and trail planners and staff, this tool is also available for anyone who might be seeking context and demographic context of the regional parks and trail system. So why did we need to update this tool? This tool was in dire need of a refreshment, as we needed to integrate the latest American Community Survey demographics. It also helps us to reduce labor requirements and address the code that required the most manual updates. It also better aligns with this tool with the goals of Imagine 2050. And additional to that, it also improves the visuals and makes the user experience a little bit smoother.
Thank you.
What more?
Okay. So for this update, we've integrated the 2023 American Community Survey ACS data from the census, which means that park agencies are now working with the most recent demographic information available for their communities. Kind of on the back end or behind the scenes, we've also made significant improvements to how this tool operates. So we've incorporated IS best practices to kind of help reduce the maintenance burden going forward with future updates. In like repairing and standardizing some like data loading processes. And most importantly, maybe kind of, we future-proofed the code to like make future updates like really easy. Some of the main changes that you'll see with this mapping function, we've updated all of the map data layers, so you'll now see the most current information for parks and trails. And this ensures that when parks agencies are doing their equity analysis, they're looking at the actual current state of the region's recreational infrastructure. We also spent quite a bit of time looking at the different access zones that are represented by buffers on the map. So now it's easier to compare within like a 1 mile buffer, which might be a 20-minute walk, versus a 7.5 buffer, 5 mile buffer, which would be like a 15-ish minute drive. Also improving access area analysis for like more rural areas or for parks that have like different circumstances. We've completely recreated these unit level plotting functions. So if you compare the 2019 version on the left with our 2025 version on the right, you'll see that we have aligned the graphics with accessibility and research best practices. So these, they're cleaner and easier to interpret and compare across different types of parks and trails. We've also improved the overall navigation experience of the website and added a lot more contextual information and helpful resources to help users understand and apply what they're seeing in the tool. So looking into the future, this tool continues to support the equity analysis requirements in Imagine 2050's long-range park planning process. This 2025 update brings everything up to date, so super current, so implementing agencies can confidently use this tool for outreach and planning decisions. Our next steps involve opening a feedback loop with implementing agencies about which parts of the tool are most useful in day-to-day work, and if there's any other additional functionality that could be like an asset to be added to this tool. And this will help us continue evolving the tool to better serve the region's needs. And you guys will find 2 links in the agenda for today's meeting, one to the old Parks Equity tool from 2019 and one to the updated 2025 Parks Equity tool.
Thank you, and we will welcome comments or questions if you might have some.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Yes, David.
Thank you for the overview. I'm wondering, were any of the partner agencies, I guess, what do you think they would use the tool most for? Or what value would they find most in this tool?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner, Councilmember Wolf.
You don't have
Sorry,
to
Chair.
say Councilmember Wolf every
Okay.
time, that's okay.
Chair, Commissioner Yates. I think that is a really good question, and that is something that we want to engage the parks agencies about. What is the most used aspect of the tool? We have 3 main things, which is the map itself, the data plotting where you can visualize the data, and also we have a tab where they can download the data. And we're very curious to know which one of those 3 items they use the most. And once we understand if that item is used the most, then we can work towards that to make it even more accessible. I assume that each agency uses the tool differently. I know some agencies use it more for outreach, other ones use it for planning, but it might be very different depending on the agency.
Could I add just a little?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that great answer, and David for the question. I just wanted to reflect back to 10 years ago when like equity was brought in as the new topic of the day in the 2040 planning, and we didn't know what to do with it, and we're like, equity, what's that? And this commission was sort of relentless around saying, okay, what are you doing? How are you increasing equitable usage? Like it was sort of this nondescript statement of regional parks and trails. But and we started by really focusing on like capital investments and projects and saying, what's the equity impact of that? And it was sort of too late by that point. And so there was sort of an agreement or a negotiation almost with the park agencies that they're like, if you move the whole idea of equity up in the stream more into the planning and really integrate it there and talk about what communities do you want to reach, what are we learning from those communities, what are we going to do about it, and then ultimately what did you do about it and how did it work, that would be a lot more effective way to do it. So as Ismail and Magdalene were talking about it, we also had a responsibility to help the agencies because it's hard work. And so this tool is it's a great start to help people understand where the prioritized communities are, whether it's youth, people of color, older people with disabilities. Like it's a really rich tool, and there's a ton of information, and figuring out exactly how to use it is one of the challenges ahead, but people are already using it. Like a lot of our outreach staff use it to understand how to target the work that they do, particularly in the area. So I wanted to just provide that additional context because it's been a long process and we're obviously not there yet.
Yeah, and I asked that question partly because I think, and maybe this goes back to what Jonathan was saying earlier, is that friendly friction sometimes between what we do here on behalf of the agencies versus what the agencies may need on their own, and I think sometimes there's a little bit of a dance back and forth on what that is, and so that's why I wanted that perspective, so thank you.
Yeah, there absolutely was. It's like, we got all gung-ho about it, like, can we do stuff like now? And I'm like, our budgets were already set like 3 years ago and our plans were done 5 years ago, so no. We've been trying to figure out how to rebuild that sense and get it in a little bit more reasonable fashion. Anyone else? This is a technical thing that you may not know. I'm curious, when we're developing software like this for the council that may be applicable to somebody else, what licenses are they under in terms of the code?
For replicability? Is that?
I'm wondering, are these a proprietary thing or is this an open source license where like if Seattle wanted to use this tool, could they?
Yes, thank you for the question, Chair. Yes, everything, we have a repository on GitHub. And I'm not entirely sure if it's free to access, but we will most likely grant access if any other state might want to replicate what we're doing. Because
Lisa's nodding behind you, by the way.
We've seen it in some of our other tools where other regions have taken our code, used it almost entirely the same and just inputted their local data.
Mm-hmm. Do you actually have a particular license on it or just okay. It's figured out. Right.
That's something that I can dig a little bit more, but I don't think that the research team would put anything behind a license for everybody else to use.
I've been involved in open source software in my not parks thing, so I'm familiar with some of the various ways that they can do that. Okay. Anything else? I need to go poke around on the website and see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Look at the MPOS posting first because I think it's not yet published, and Ismail and Magdalene want us to look at the new tool and the old tool and mess around with it.
You mean the links from our agenda?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Yes, so the one that says old link goes directly to the current version that is posted on the website. The new link is the one that is not yet posted, but is only accessible through that specific link.
Yeah.
We expect that tomorrow. We wanted to wait for MPOS for us to do the official upload, which is gonna happen tomorrow. So after tomorrow, those links might not work.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Now you got
mainly
something to
just-
do after the meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or, Chair, if you would prefer, you can, we can communicate and we
We'll
can postpone it and,
Oh, no,
Yeah.
don't postpone it, I'll find it one way or another. I can always bug Emmett if I fail.
I believe the links will still work. The old tool will just not be available anymore. So
Oh.
you'll be good.
The links will work.
Yeah, they'll work.
Anything else? No. Thank you.
thank you.
That will bring us to our last thing here, which is looking back on 2025 and celebrating our work for the year, and possibly longer than a year. This one doesn't even have staff names on it, so.
Yeah, sorry,
I guess
think
it's
this is
Emmett.
Kevin
It's a
and
mystery.
me.
No.
Yeah, this is live and in person, so. Hi, everybody. I just want to say the culminating event of this presentation and Kevin's game will be, we all get to eat cake, so we will be quick. But we did want to just take a few moments. It's December, which I just am scratching my head on. But it is the end of the year, and 2025 has been a really big year for the Metropolitan Council and for the Parks and Trails team, for the park agencies, and I think for MPOSC. We were working at that Imagine 2050 document, well, for quite some time, and it was a lot of work, and you folks endured some, I'm gonna just go with content-rich presentations and discussions, and you hung in there. And I had never been through the full 10-year cycle before, like in the culmination of a new decennial plan, the regional development guide. And I'll just say what may be obvious, but it was a ton of work. And we really did rely on you for so much of these conversations, and so thank you. So we're gonna have a fun presentation now, but key achievements, unbelievable. What did we accomplish this year? Well, we adopted the Imagine 2050 document, which the most important subset of that is the Parks and Trails policy plan. Like, that is clearly.
If you want the rest of it, they all pile up about this high and they're in the council offices, so I can bring you the rest of it if you really want some heavy reading.
I'll take your word for it.
We'll get everybody a copy of the transportation plan, which is about
Yeah, that
5
one
times
is
the
this
side of this, so. I think we launched a successful art and policy effort. That's been a really cool process, as we just heard from Tony and the team. The modernizing mapping barn burner, that was a really big innovation, and the policy plan amendment that it represented was sort of not that exciting. But what it represents of moving to a digital format and automating so much, I'm really excited about. I think the potential is great. Grounded and growing, yeah, we're working on it. It's out there, and we know it needs to be better. So we're committed to that. And then, Jonathan, you talked about acquiring land as one of our most important functions. Like, we agree. Continued park and trail acquisitions, I'll get into it in just a second, but the fun fact, thanks to the city of St. Paul and just the amazing road reconstruction projects, we moved 3 meetings off-site this year. I really liked it, and you folks were such good sports, driving all around the region. I missed the Baylor meeting, I'm embarrassed to say, I was on vacation, but you know, Carver County, they're doing it out there. There's so much going on. The streetcar museum, we were at Como, like it's a historic area, and like Como is, whatever you want to do, you can do it at Como. I mean, because it's one of the hardest working parks in the system. And then I love the stop at Cleary Lake, which is also just a really great park with so much there. So we wanted to mention some of Jessica and Kevin's. Kevin is Jessica's sort of, he's studying to become, capable of conducting acquisitions, and he is incredible, I'll tell you that.
That sounds terrible.
Sorry, no, it's
I
exciting.
only did once.
It's a great opportunity, and there will be more in your future, Kevin. But we did 10 acquisitions across 5 agencies. 14 acres were for regional trails. Did you know that if you acquire 3 acres of land, you already got a mile of trail? So 14 acres is considerable. 293 acres for park reserves, 1.6 acres, that was Jonathan's Galewoods Farm special feature for $9,848,000. Like that's $10 million. The agencies invested well over $3 million more. So the whole impact was well into 13 plus million. We did that fun fishing piers grant. Tony, you got to spin the dial. Zoe's artwork, it was incredible. Representative Rick Hansen, we are grateful. Well, Jonathan, you didn't win. You were an incredibly good sport. And we were really glad that Carver, Ramsey, St. Paul, and Washington County got new fishing piers, because that is just a really great basic amenity. The art and policy program, like there we are at the art shanty. I think that is Ellie and Amanda standing in front. You can't tell, but the yellow coat, Ellie, is the dead giveaway. Or actually, that's Erica. Sorry, Erica. But that has been a really fun but really innovative front edge program, and really helping 2050, not just in parks and trails. Okay, but we were in water, we were in transportation, environmental services. I guess I covered that, and housing and more. I really, really enjoyed how that program functioned and how it will continue to function, I hope, into the future, because it's certainly an innovator. Parks and trails planning, I'm really almost done here. But we had a busy year, and it really was the 2024 lead up and then the culmination in early 25, but adopting the 2040 Parks and Trails Policy Plan, the first ever Parks and Trails Planning Handbook, which was really kind of cool. We have a long way to go with that one, we know, but we got to start. I want it to be a functional resource. So does our director. We developed park and trail outcome measures. Do you remember? I'm sorry, I think we came to you about 20 times on that one, so thank you for your patience. The system statements, you probably don't know what they are. Wendy knows what they are, but every community in the region has one. They're really great descriptions of what planning and functions are going on in that community. We worked with every single one of them. We have already begun implementation with some agency council work groups that are really just rocking. I want to say trail system coordination, which Anthony's helping us with a bit, which we really appreciate. I'm excited for that work. They're really doing some visionary stuff. We will come to you soon with an update on what's going on. Bridging facilities, yeah, it's back. We're still working on that one, but Jessica and I hope to bring an information item early in 2026. on that to you to share what's going on. When we finish the plan, okay, I tweaked the language a little bit because it was an agreement that we had, but people didn't like it, and so we've gone back to the drawing board, and it's some really minor changes, but they're good changes, and park agencies are generally 100% on board. There's a climate and natural systems work group that Kevin and Colin are leading with the park agencies, really innovative stuff. Work that really wasn't ever well represented in our Parks and Trails policy plan, but the climate and natural systems work is there now, and we're really excited about that. And finally, Tracy is helping us work through some of the American Indian commitments, which are really significant. It's really hard work, I'll say that, but it's also really exciting work that we're doing with our tribal liaison and the park implementing agencies, which are out front and leading in a lot of that work. Yeah, the other work continues, and we'll do it. I just want to mention the updated Parks Equity tool. I'm really excited about that. I think there will be incredible utility. We're getting into user testing, even though we're going live tomorrow, but we see that as something that will continually improve. So all in all, just really exciting work. So we thank you for all your work, and we're rewarding you with cake, which Sandy and I will now, I hope, help with. While my favorite game, Kevin will jump right in, and we have a short, fun Menti, if you know what that is. It's like the game Cahoots, but they don't let Cahoots, the online version of Cahoots, work through our website. So we had to use Menti instead, which is just about as fun. But Kevin.
Gets flagged by the filter as game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so take out your phone and dial it in. It's gonna be fun, we promise.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, Kevin, take it over.
Feel free to take your time. There's the QR code,
You guys are
or
ready.
you can enter it in via the website. I'm gonna guess most folks are good to go, but in the meantime, if you still need the code, it'll be up there throughout the entire time. But I just quickly wanted to, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I'll be back when we get my backup clicker.
Sorry, Kevin, I'm not helping.
I thought the backup clicker was Emmett.
Oh, there we go. It's
So-
working.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, typically we know MPOS as the Metropolitan Parks and Open Space Commission, but for the next 10 to 15 minutes, it will be the mentee of Parks Overview. That is super cool. So I just wanted to explain the concept of mentee, how we'll kind of go about this. So it's essentially going to be multiple choice questions. There's one that you type in, but usually the name of the game is to click the correct option as fast as you can. The faster you click, the more points you'll get, and it'll kind of progress throughout about 10 to 15 questions, and there will be a leaderboard in between so you can kind of check your progress. I also want to note that some of the questions will have multiple correct answers. You can only pick one, but that just maybe gives you a little bit more assurance for some of these options. But let's get started. So here's the code. We'll move on into question 1. You'll also have about 15 seconds to respond. So question 1 is, how many regional park implementing agencies are there? And you'll see the options pop up on your screen. Okay. Good job. Great job, everyone.
Everybody's listening.
We're starting off strong. So we got the leaderboard over here. Looks like Cake is in a pretty strong lead. Followed by Zoe and Android. Moving on into question 2, we have, what is the name of the art and policy game created to introduce people to the goals and objectives of Imagine 2050?
Apparently the rest of you are way more creative with your names than I am.
So they gave me one.
Generators.
Good response rate on that one, everyone. It seems like Cake is still in the lead with Zoe. Johnny's moved up into 3rd place. All right, moving on into question 3. We have, how many miles of regional trails are open to the public?
That's obvious.
It's easy.
Open public versus planned.
This one was a little tough. I realized I might have written some of these questions a little more detailed, but still a good response rate.
That's for planned, not.
I'm out of last place.
Making good moves. Zoe's up in 1st place,
Yeah,
Agent
go
X.
ahead.
Yeah. Moving on into question 4. We have, which agencies received a fishing pier grant earlier this year? Right, good job, everyone. This one was kind of
Everybody's a winner.
yeah, everyone's a winner.
It'd be a lot harder if it was a multi-select and you needed all 3.
Kahoot had multi-select, which would have been a little more difficult. Alright, shifting into question 5. At what regional unit did the Art Shanty event take place? So this one was at Minneapolis Chain of Lakes. We got a good bunch.
I would have been faster, but I had to read all of them because I was thinking at first maybe it was the individual lake rather than.
That is the tricky part.
Is it the Cedar Isles chapter of the Chain of Lakes? No, it's not that.
Alright, things are staying mostly the same at the top 3. Question 6. What policies are newly introduced in the 2050 Regional Parks and Trails Policy Plan? This is also open book if you are able to flip through in 5 seconds.
That would take a lot.
Good job, everyone. So climate resilience and the system plan were some of the new items. I almost added in natural systems, but that one would have been a little mean. It was just modified, but kudos to y'all. Okay, Tiger Baby has moved up into 3rd place.
Tiger Baby.
Okay, we're halfway through, so a lot can change. But the next question is, what units have had a long-range plan approved by the council in 2025? Good job, everyone. Moving on into question 8. where was an off-site MPOS meeting held this year?
This is tough.
This might be a bit of a callback to the presentation.
Were you listening?
Good
Or
job.
were you there? We're rewarding attendance.
Moving into question 9. So this one's a free response, so you'll just have to type it in, but this is general trivia on how many voting MPOS members are there?
By statute or right now?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I went with by statute.
Me too.
That's what I did too,
I think I went
but
with statute.
we may have appeals on this.
There's big money in this one. It's okay.
I like the more than one.
That was creative.
Alright, great job. Moving into question 10. We're back to multiple choice now, but the council awarded 10 PAOF grants in 2025. What is the total acreage of all these grant awards? Okay. Shout out to the 3 who remember, but good
And
job.
can do math. Or at least estimate. That number is not what was on the slide.
Oh, boy.
Going into question 11, we have, what is the name of the project that uses history and culture to tell untold stories of the regional parks and trails? It is grounded and growing. Great job.
That's what I'm gonna do, and then I'm second guessing. Check myself out.
2 more questions, that's it.
Having the timer psychs you out.
Okay, question 12. What new subclassification was added to the system plan in the 2050 policy plan? It was the cultural landscapes. Okay, this is before, I think, the second to last question. So Zoe's back in the lead. Agent X9 is in second place and Tiger Baby's in third, but it's a close race. And we have 2 more questions actually, I think, so. Question 13 is, what regional park hosted the 2024 cross-country ski World Cup event? Which Emmett also shared a fun fact was the first time in 20 years
Over 20 years, yeah.
that they've returned to the US. There's a character limit on the question. But yeah, it's Theodore Wirth Regional Park.
This is the first time it was held in public?
Or I think in the US in over 20 years.
But I mean in a public.
Oh.
I think it was the first time it was held in an urban park.
Okay.
Cause I went to family day and skied with a lot of other skiers and like, it's always out in the middle of nowhere, which is nice, but to be in the city is really cool.
Interesting. I didn't know. I'm also learning new trivia as we're moving across this.
The other trivia was they desperately needed snow, as Anthony may recall. He had some involvement here. And it was just so exciting. It snowed 18 inches the day before, or 2 days before.
Okay, so this one's for all the marbles. Last question is a little bit, oh wait, I forgot to progress the slide. It is about the MinPair program, but which agencies have had an artist from the MinPair program assigned to one of their parks in 2025?
It's obvious.
So it was in almost all of the above, 75% for Ramsey County in Battle Creek Regional Park, MPRB in North Mississippi, and Dakota County. Was it all of them? All of Dakota County.
This must be mine.
But all right, final leaderboard is Zoe has gotten first place,
Zoe.
followed by Agent X9 and Tiger Baby. So congratulations, Zoe.
Feels a
But
little unfair because I paid for the question.
Full disclosure.
So it's 8
Who was the first person
yeah,
who
who's the
wasn't
first
staff?
commissioner or agency staff?
I was Agent X.
Okay.
Congratulations, Jonathan.
Jonathan, nice work.
A good final like swan song.
I do actually pay attention.
You know that.
I'm just ADHD, so I multitask.
Your reward, Jonathan, is you get a second piece of cake.
No, that is no reward, that's fabulous cake.
It's
So-
Sandy, thank you.
Trivia part's done, but if we wanted to reflect, there's this one question that's about what we're excited for in 2026, what we're proud of in 2025. There's also another one after this one that's just asking what our favorite park or trail unit is to visit. We can pick either one. I'll leave some time on this slide, but cake is a good one. We had a lot of cake this year. The art shanty was also a good, not a good highlight, but something to look forward to. All right, great job. I'll also give a quick note to that 2026 art shanty, but January to February next year, keep your eyes peeled because the council is returning to the art shanties on Lake Harriet, also known as Minneapolis Chain of Lakes Regional Park. But it'll be in partnership with the Sacred Water Shared Futures campaign. Ellie, I don't know if you want to share any other thoughts, but it might be a good
Yeah.
time to advertise.
Yeah, we're doing another art shanty, so it starts January 17th and goes until February 9th. It's weekends 10 to 4. We'll be out there with the same shanty physical structure, but it'll look a little different because we'll be asking people to share what the Mississippi River means to them as we celebrate 100 years since it's been protected and restored. So come out there or, at least share with your friends to come be out on the ice if you prefer not to be on the ice. That's okay too. It's very cool. But it's very
There
fun.
is a heater in the ice shanty, so you can warm up.
Props to the person who actually typed out Linwood Martin Island Lakes.
I grew up on that area, going camping. Wow.
One of our longer names.
Yeah.
Alright, well that's most of MPOSC, at least the Menti version. So thank you all for playing, and sharing your feedback. And I will hand it back to Emmett and Mr. Chair and Commissioners to continue on your daily business. Thank you.
Kevin, thanks for doing that.
All right, thank you. I guess that brings us then to our report section, close out. One thing I have to bring up is, do we have to talk about an alternate date for January possibly, because it's it's first Thursday is New Year's Day. So I'm imagining we'd probably wanna do the 8th instead.
That was our original plan, but we are, and I did the great reveal to Chris ahead of time, but we are canceling January. We have a number of long-range plans and acquisitions in the works, but they're not gonna be ready by January. So we will have a robust start to the year in February. I think it's February 5th, not a positive.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll let the full commission know.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah, no, we were planning on moving it to the 8th, but canceled, so.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
All right,
enjoy.
I think that's all I have. Any other commissioners? Or liaison?
Nothing much. Community Development approved the update to the language, and so it'll go in front of the full council, I believe, on third Wednesday in
17th
Yeah.
of December, yep, the modernizing mapping policy plan. So thank you, Councilman.
Okay. And then we had also forwarded something with we didn't have a business item
Yes,
for it because of our count.
and that went through just fine. I explained that we were doing that as a kindness to all of you, to not make you drive in here for a 10-minute meeting, and everybody accepted that, so it went through just fine.
Okay, thank you. Steph?
Thanks. Well, just to reiterate, the Minnesota Parks Artist in Residence virtual showcase will be next Tuesday. The link is in your email. Check it out. I mean, check it out for 15 minutes. It was a really inspiring program. We didn't know how it was gonna work. I thought it worked great. I hope we can do it again. The Parks and Trails Legacy Liaisons, it's sort of a DNR State Park Director, myself, and the Greater Minnesota Executive Director, Renee, we're meeting actually tomorrow to talk about it, but I think there's a lot of interest in doing it again. So my hope is that we can spread this out to even more park agencies as we move forward, because it's been a really cool and I think impactful pilot year. So, but check it out next Tuesday, noon to 1:30, and Ellie, thanks for your work on that. But you have to register to get the link. This is one thing that, I don't know if people remember, but we passed this administrative amendment. You guys approved our ability to administratively approve long-range plan amendments that were super minor. The idea is that it would be a cost-saving mechanism, and it's also just some amendments, while always fascinating to me, aren't really, they're not a big enough deal to run a full plan amendment process, which are quite costly.
You should remember, we discussed it like 4 times.
Yeah, we did. And, well, we had 2 administrative amendments in 2025. The first was the Rush Creek Regional Trail Long Range Plan Amendment, and that was 1/10 of an acre was removed from the road right-of-way next to Winnetka Avenue in Plymouth. It wasn't high-quality parkland or trail land. It was, and Three Rivers got in its place. It was the deal of the century. A tunnel underneath Winnetka Avenue that allows people safe crossing of the Rush Creek Regional Trail. So it was sort of well done. We had to do that little minor amendment before we could approve that. Then the Gale Woods Farm, the one that Wendy, you just mentioned, the special feature, it was a minor boundary adjustment approval before that Park Acquisition Opportunity Fund request could go through, and that was, it was an addition that was surrounded on 3 sides by parkland. It was sort of the missing tooth, as I think about it, right off I think it was the entry road, but again, it was $365,000, well under the $750,000 threshold that you folks set. Those were the 2 administrative amendments. Not that exciting, but they're not meant to be. So the process, I think, is working. And so thank you for enabling staff the ability to approve those without, but we said we'll come at the end of every year and report, so.
Yeah, and that Winnetka Avenue one, while not what they actually ended up doing, we actually have seen that before. I don't remember how long ago this was, but I think it was, I don't know if it was in the context of a plan update or neighboring acquisition, but they had explained to us then, like, we wanna do this tunnel thing under the road, but we don't quite know what the design will look like. So this was we knew they were going to do something, we just weren't quite sure exactly what. So it's like, we've already had a presentation on it.
Yep, Tracy has been sort of shepherding this through with Kelly Chrisman and Jonathan. It's complex, but it is a real win for the regional trail system, so thanks for the work, Jonathan.
Yeah, how much money is involved in that one that aren't park dollars to make that happen? Cause it's a lot,
Do you
as I
know, man,
recall.
it's a couple $1 million.
What are we talking about?
The Rush Creek underpass.
The underpass up on Winnetka and Brooklyn
Yeah,
Park.
exactly.
Yeah, it's about a $1.5 million underpass. Tremendously dangerous road. It's been on top of our radar as the next thing to be solved. And it was a three-way deal with Hennepin County, ourselves, and Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park, sorry, I said Plymouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting here trying to figure out how in the heck Winnetka goes through
Right.
Plymouth.
It's gotta be there somewhere. No, Brooklyn,
I actually had the map out and
sorry,
Yeah, there is a grant, well, there's a ribbon cutting for it.
You're missing the
I'll send the
little wormhole.
information on it.
yeah,
It's
that'd
like,
be great.
it's sometime next week.
And my third update is that the Met Council got a new chair, Robin Hutchinson. I haven't met her yet.
She started on Monday.
She started on Monday. She has a transportation background, but I have it on very good, from a good source that she loves parks and trails. And so maybe she can stop by sometime, so.
This name sounds very vaguely familiar, I have no idea why.
Wendy, what do
She
you know?
used to be the public works director for Minneapolis, and then she went and worked for freight at the federal level under the Biden administration.
Okay,
She's good.
I don't know why that name is familiar then, from what context I would run into that, but yeah, I think I heard from her at something. Interesting.
Well, so it'll be exciting. Big shoes to fill, but she's gonna be great.
All right,
That's all.
cool. Well, then I think we're ready to adjourn. I think there's still a few pieces of cake and some other goodies and things over there, so feel free to grab some on your way out. Thank you, everybody.
Other goodies.
Yeah, well, there's.
Hang on.
And we have these, whatever, yeah.
These are
There's
parts
like
for all. This was one
Little
of the.
muffins and lemon
products.
cake or something over there too.
You get a sticker too, but
I
parts.
don't take paper, don't give it to me.
Chris, have it framed. David.
You have to email her the design file so she can print out her own.
Anthony, put it on your wall. It's a cool part. I mean, this is Louis Fitch. He's a artist who helped us with the art and policy stuff. Really cool. And
I want to look at it, but I'll never get it nicely
this
put away
is just
again.
a small under $5 recognition that we really appreciate all of your work.